Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Anavex Life Sciences Corporation. We're going to be doing a technical analysis first, and we're going to look at some financials. Now, firstly, we're going to look at some SMA and some RSI. Now, if we take a look at the SMA lines firstly, here we're going to be using 10, 50, and 200-day moving averages. Now, as you can see here, there has recently been a death cross that was 4 days ago on January 25th. As you can see here, the 200-day moving average moved above the 50-day moving average, showing that in the last 50 days, the upwards momentum has decreased quite a lot. As we can see here, the green line is fading down. Meanwhile, it might be a false hearing that the yellow one is moving up, the 200-day moving average, which would show that there is a long-term one, but here it just really doesn't make that much sense. One of these points is that it is because it's a very little stock. There is not that many shares. As you can see down here, the market cap is under $1 billion, so it's a very small stock. Now, as you can see also down here in the RSI, it usually trades at quite high up in the RSI, which a very odd pattern and might show that it is overbought quite often. As you see here, it spikes upwards much more often than downwards. For those of you who don't know, once something passes below 30 RSI, it is oversold, and above 70, it is overbought. As you can see, once it spikes, either way, it often returns back. But as you can see here, it's overbought per se much more often, which means there is upwards momentum, but it is quickly stricken down again, and I think that is because it's a very small company. So that is why I think RSI here is looking a bit weird, but that is also a positive factor, to be honest, because that means if it's trading in the upper RSI, means it is a very positive sign that people want it to trade upwards. Now, if we take a look at the SMA again, as we can see the death cross here, if we look at other death crosses similar, we can see the death crosses are the last two ones have usually been followed by golden cross, death cross, golden cross, death cross, golden cross. So they're very tightly packed. All of these are from October, so it happens quite often, which is very normal in small stocks because it doesn't take that much to change them. But an interesting thing is the golden cross and death crosses are very tightly packed. So as you can see here, again, the death cross was right here back in, what was that, December, the 12th of December. And then again, the golden cross was 18th, so only 6 days. And now if we take a look at the death cross over here, we can even see that the 50-day is trading back up a little bit. As you can see, the 10-day moving average almost crossed the 200-day, which is a positive sign. You can see the candles here showing a lot of upwards momentum. So as you can see, the green line here is not taking downwards anymore, but it's actually taking more sideways, and maybe soon it's going to be upwards. So that is a very interesting thing to look at. Now, the reason I like this stock is because they are in Alzheimer's diseases. They have recently just got accepted for the EMA, which is the European Drug Administration, for a SIGMAR 1 drug, which helps cleanse the brain for Alzheimer's particles. To make it more understandable, the thing that cleanses the brain once you have Alzheimer's is no longer produced as much by the brain, but this SIGMAR 1 drug that Anavex produces has been approved by EMA, and they're going to be start setting out this year. That is why I think it's going to be trading a lot higher than usually. Now I'm going to draw some lines showing where it's going to go upwards. I'm not going to show downwards momentum as much today because I don't think that that is where the focus should lie on this stock because of that approval. If we take a look at maybe some defensive lines, they're going to be right around here. As you can see, they had been some previous tops, but now it's looking more like a bottom. So that is quite interesting. That is usually a pattern that is followed. As you can see, it's tipped right below here, the 940, and it shot right back up. As you can see here, it barely touched, then it shot up again. But because of the interesting way that this stock is with their pipeline, I think it's gonna go up maybe 300 to 400% this year or next year combined. So that is why I personally think from here the line is gonna increase if this chart will let me. So because of the interesting things they have in the pipeline, like the SIGMAR one, I'm just gonna make my technicalities like this. Well, of course, this should be more in the future. Maybe it should be a bit more like so. If it's gonna let me, I think it's gonna look a lot more like this, perchance, because the technicalities are not important in small stocks like this, which have huge upwards momentum, but it's simply because the pipeline is so incredible and they have already gotten approval from EMA, and once their sales start, it's gonna be crazy. Then we're gonna take a look at the financials. We're gonna be using Yahoo Finance because it's simply a very good website for those private investors like myself, where information regarding stocks like this can be hard to come around. Now, as you can see here, the operating income and operating expenses is at the top, and that is because they don't really make that much money at the moment. As you can see here, it's negative, all of this. But if we look at the balance sheet on the stock, as you can see here, the assets, it's quite decent, and as you can see, it falls down, but not that much, which means that they're actually doing a quite nice management of this. And also, if we take a look at the holders here, you are going to see something interesting. That is the amount of float and shares held by institutions. And these I like quite a lot because with BlackRock and Vanguard, two of the biggest and most well-performing institutions within investing banks in the world. So that's why I think that because of these two in particular have the stock, that is also one of the reasons I'm banking on it, and simply because of the fact that they're going to be making a lot of money in the future. Because if it's just like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, if you think about it, people are gonna buy something that keeps their mind healthy just as well as you have their body. So in case someone gets Alzheimer's, the chances that they're gonna want to be buying something that keeps their mind healthy is insanely high, just as with weight loss drugs. So this recurring revenue of making people live longer is also a huge upside potential. That is why this is one of my biggest positions in the next 10 years to come, as I think this is gonna go up. Within the next 10 years, I think this stock could easily be trading at $200 to $400 if it gets the recognition it deserves, and of course there are not too many competitors. That was the stock analysis on Anavex Life Sciences. Don't forget to like and subscribe.